So I'm going to go as fast as possible. I'm going to do my best to cover as much of this information with you as possible. Just a few suggestions. Don't waste a minute this weekend. Do not waste a minute that you have here with these tremendous senior vice presidents, regional vice presidents, top producers. Here's a suggestion, something that I share every time I get in front of people who want to be senior vice presidents and top producers. What you're looking for sitting here in this room, and what you're looking for at the leaderships, the team leaderships, is you're looking for one idea. You're looking for one idea. You're looking for one breakthrough, one nugget of gold. The one thing that you need that's going to take you to the next level. See, here's what I believe. That a lot of you are one decision away. A lot of you are one breakthrough away from greatness. And you cannot be in the hallway messing around with the hallway trainers. You've got to be in here present, taking notes, looking for that one nugget of gold.
That's
Is
right.
that fair?
Yes.
Next month we do a blitz. Okay, so I just talked to you guys about what we did in Latin America. So next month we're going to do a U.S. blitz. Now, for those of you who don't know what a blitz is, the training is over for you. That's enough for you. You don't need to continue. For those of you who are regional directors, who are future senior vice presidents, and you haven't done a blitz in a long time, maybe that's where we need to start this conversation right now. Maybe you need to get your calendar out and you need to put together a blitz for your organization. Here's my advantage in ACN. My advantage in ACN is that I was horrible at this business. I mean, if you look at every part of this business, if you look at customer acquisition, horrible at the business. Team building, horrible at the business. It took me 50 plus exposures to get my first IPO to sign up. It took me 4 months to get to executive team training. When I got the team coordinator, I was not a top producing team coordinator. I was almost the longest person in the company's history to get the regional vice president, and I believe I've been the longest person in the company's history to get the senior vice president. So my strength today has been my weaknesses in ACN. So some of the things that maybe you're struggling with, maybe you're not the best at whatever, team building, customer acquisition, presenting. Here's my suggestion. Make your weakness your strength. Become an expert at what you think you need to work on. Because the key is to get really good at doing the uncomfortable. Okay, get really good. Make a list of things that you don't like to do. What don't you like to do? Maybe it's go out and take an interest. Maybe it's presenting. Maybe it's sitting down with people and make phone calls. Make a list of the things. Prioritize. What's uncomfortable? What really do I not like to do? And just start attacking those things. And I'm telling you right now, if you can get into the habit of doing that, you will be a top producer. Now, everybody that's trained this weekend, Mr. Kane and the co-founders have a formula. And the formula, the people who you're going to hear from on stage this weekend are people that are actively building the business. See, there's people here in this audience that have huge businesses and do very well financially. But the formula they use is based on new production. What somebody's done the last 90 days or the last quarter. And that takes me to my very first point. See, success is rented. Success is rented, and rent is due every single day. Every single day, you're going to have to fight. See, there's one thing to get to a position. There's one thing to become a champion. It's another thing to defend and keep that championship title, that championship life. 70 to 80% of people, listen to this fact, 70 to 80% of people that attempt to lose weight actually lose weight. See, people don't have a problem losing weight. I mean, I think if we were to go around the room, I think everybody here in this room has attempted and has been successful at losing 5 pounds or 10 pounds. See, that's not the problem. The problem is not losing the weight. The problem is that a lot of people, 90% of people, experts say, gain all of the weight back plus some. Why? Because success is rented. You've got to make it a lifestyle. Whatever. You've got to make production a lifestyle. You've got to make your health a lifestyle. So, my topic is global expansion. That's my topic. How many of you guys would like to get paid on thousands of customers all over the world? Yes? How many of you guys would like to be able to log into your back office and see 5 or 10 or 15,000 customers all over the U.S., 510 or 15,000 customers, maybe all over Europe and all over Latin America, and you're getting paid a percentage. How many of you guys would like to have a global business? So let's start with motivation. Okay? Let's start with motivation. See, I'm not the guy that's going to come up here screaming, motivating you, getting you all fired up. We've all had that coach, right? Or we've all seen that leader that comes up and says, "You guys fired up? You guys going TC? You guys want RD? You guys want..." Look, I always tell those guys, you gotta chill, man. You gotta chill. Here's the deal. Not that there's anything wrong with motivation. There's nothing wrong with motivation. The problem is, if you think that's the business that we're in, that's the problem. See, motivation is not reliable. That's the issue. The issue is, what if you wake up and you're not motivated? What are you gonna do? Not get customers? What if you wake up today, maybe you're feeling a little, maybe you're not 100, you're not at your best today. What if you're not in the mood to do a presentation? What if you're not in the mood to go out and produce? What are you gonna do? Not produce? I'll give you a quick story. Back in the day, Mr. Jeff Weber, I know who's in the room, will remember this. So back in the day, there was a gentleman, I'm not gonna say his name, who was out on the East Coast. He was at the position, he was at that time he was a team coordinator, right, regional director. He had thousands of customers. Check this out. So this gentleman came out to LA because he was moving to LA to pioneer and blow up LA. And he was building a huge team, and he was a guest speaker at our event. I was an ETT at the time. Mr. Jeff Weber, I think, was maybe an ETT, maybe a TC, right? So this gentleman had thousands of customers. And he shows up to our event. I mean, this guy's looking impeccable, gator shoes, the Armani. I mean, this guy was just impeccable. And we're excited to hear this guy, right? Because we hear his thousands of customers. So this dude, we call him for a testimonial, and he goes up there, and he had above average lips, right? Good looking dude, above average lips, and somebody told him he had sexy lips, so every time he spoke, he did the LL Cool J, he go like this. He set up, So anyway, he goes up there, after the lip thing, right? And he goes, we're just excited. And so we're like, oh, good point there. Okay, excited, right? And he goes, what do we do in the marketplace? We're excited. So, got it, okay. Why are we getting the results? We're excited. Why? Right? Look, Jeff, ask Jeff. Jeff, we're going to be rich at this thing. If that guy has thousands and thousands and thousands of questions. See, motivation is not reliable. That guy's toast. Next. Okay. How do you build a global business? Oops. How do you build a global business? You have to think globally, but you build locally. Get into the habit, guys. People want to start talking to customers in Transylvania before they got their next door neighbor on the service. People, I got this person in Mexico, I got this person in Colombia, and I'm looking at their PCL. They got a solid 8 points on their PCL. They haven't talked to anyone. No, you have to become efficient in your market. Work through your local market and start through your local market. Start building globally. 3 most important words for us in ACN: lead by example. 3 most important words. Now, I've looked at this. There's no better way of saying it. Okay, this is leadership. Lead by example. Let your life be the instruction manual for people. When people meet you, let them talk to you, and based on what you do every single day, they're going to follow the lead. That's the way to the top of the mountain. There's no nice way of saying this. Don't be a fraud. Do not talk about residual income if you don't have, if you're not earning 10%. Do not talk about, the lifestyle if you're not doing the things that are moving you closer to that lifestyle. What is your intention? What is your intention? Very powerful question. What is your purpose? Have you sat down 15 minutes to figure out your purpose? What is your objective? What do you want out of this weekend? What is your target? What is your RD date? What is your RVP date? What is your SVP date? What do you want from the business? What do you want out of your life? What do you want for your family? You've got to be clear. You've got to be clear about what your intention is. So I'll give you a quick example. So some of you guys know that I, for fun, as a hobby, I powerlift. And I just got a new coach last week. And this new coach is using technology. It's the first time I do this thing. What this guy does is he's got this gadget, and he hooks up this gadget to the barbell. Listen to this. And this gadget is hooked up to a computer, and it measures velocity, it measures power, and the computer just tells you speed, power, etc. After each rep, it spits out the number. So last week I was working out with this dude, and when I grabbed onto the bar, listen to this. In my head, I said, man, I'm tired. Right when I put my hands on the bar, the thought that I had was, I am tired. And I did my set, I wrapped it, and he said, what happened there? Your power dropped. What happened with your power? Did you lose grip? And I didn't tell him that in my head, see, your thoughts have power. And if you can figure out your intention, you run around this world with the right thoughts, you can literally create a ripple effect with everyone that you come across, every situation you come across, knowing your intention. The problem is that people are secretly obsessed with misery. And because they're secretly obsessed with misery, then they go out and that's the impact that they make. Big intentions are worthless if they don't bring results. Okay? It doesn't matter that you're here. It doesn't matter that you're hearing from the best of the best. It doesn't matter that you've got a tremendous company with tremendous services if you don't go out and produce results. See, I've got a list in my notes of all the lies that experts have told us. Right? And when I was a little kid, I was that little kid that asked a million questions. You guys know those little kids that ask a million questions? I used to ask a million questions. My son is the same way, and he doesn't annoy me because he annoys other people, but he doesn't annoy me because I remember asking questions and annoying other adults. So I'm very patient when it comes to the million questions. But I've got a list of all the lies that experts tell us. And see, one of those things that I've heard people tell us, these experts and personal growth people, are do what you love. Who's heard that? Follow your bliss. If you do what you love, you will wake up every day and you will not work a day of your life. Yeah. In my opinion, that's a bunch of crap. Because if you really think about what we love, think about what you love. Eating junk food, sleeping in late, we're building this business, we're moving towards senior vice president. Do you really like going to Starbucks every once in a while and sitting or some of these janky people, right? Some, not everyone, some. I mean, are we really going to fall in love with that? No. See, here's what I want you guys to fall in love with. I want you to fall in love with the results. I want you to fall in love with what senior vice president or what a massive business will provide for you. That's what I want you to fall in love with. Because if you fall in love with the results, see, you will be pulled in the direction of the things that you want. So I'll give you an example this morning. So I started working with this coach, right? This coach, and he tells me, he's a hard coach, and he says, here's the game plan. He literally has 12 weeks of workouts mapped out. And I said, I travel sometimes. He said, well, I don't care. These are the workouts. So on schedule there, I had a workout that was scheduled yesterday, and I had to fly here, and I had a workout planned up for today. So yesterday, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I do not like to wake up that early, and I get my butt to the gym. At 6 o'clock, go home, finish packing, race here. Last night, on minimal sleep, I got up this morning, I Googled the gym around here, and then, now see, that's uncomfortable. See, do I really love that? Do I really love to wake up 4 hours of sleep and drive 15 minutes through San Jose traffic to go to the gym? No, but what I do love is the result. Make sense? Let's roll. All right. You cannot depend on a great opportunity. You will need skills. Do not depend on market conditions. Another lie that people tell us is that, or lies that we hear, is the services sell themselves. Ever heard that before? Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that, Raise. Absolutely not. Look, we're going to need skills. You're going to need skills. You're going to need skills to influence. You're going to need skills to create value. You're going to need presenting skills. You are going to need skills. And two quick things that I heard a long time ago that have been very valuable is number one, avoid everything that weakens you. Avoid everything that weakens in your life. If you want a championship life, avoid everything that weakens you. And you know what weakens you. Negative relationships weaken you. Sugar, food, alcohol, your thoughts, avoid everything that weakens you. And number two, study, understand, and immerse yourself, and that brings you power. You know what brings you power. You know what environments, you're in that bring you power. You know the relationships. You know, we all have that someone here in this room that a 30-second, a 2-minute conversation, you feel good. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know, something about leaders. Leaders just make us feel better. People will forget about what you said. Look, you can come up with the best quote, you can come up with a powerful conversation, and they'll forget that quote, they'll forget that training, they'll forget that conversation, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So, immerse yourself if that brings you power. Something you've got to get used to is resetting, guys. Resetting. Resetting. See, yesterday is over. Yesterday is over. Who cares what you did or did not do yesterday? Okay, today is a new day. You know, something that I started doing a long time ago is every so often, typically at Nationals, I would pull out a rep agreement and I would re-sign up. Pretend to re-sign up. And I would say, today's my new day in ASIP, but now I'm a regional director. You know, but now I'm a regional vice president. It's a brand new day, and I'm taking all of this information that I've learned, all these trainings, and I'm applying it to my business today. There's power in reset. Get comfortable with that. Work at ASIN is only two things: acquiring customers and reps. It's not anything else. Even sitting here, you know, we're preparing to go to work, but we are not working here. We are sharpening our axe. We are picking up new insights, but work is only those two things. Now, I was in Australia a few years ago, and somebody asked Mr. Senior Vice President Brian Sachs. Somebody said, "I want to be a top producer. What are the things I need to focus on?" Is that a pretty good question to ask? Like, I want to be a top producer. Really quickly, give me a concrete answer. What are some bullet points? What do I need to become a master? What do I need to do to master in order to become a top producer? And this is the answer that Senior Vice President Brian Sachs gave me. Number one, he said, qualify reps every single day. Qualify reps every single day, and get good at qualifying reps fast. 5-day rule, he said. Get good. Every day. Think about this. Last 7 days, how many people did you qualify yourself? You as a leader. You drive this organization. How many people did you qualify? How many people did you qualify in the first 5 days? He said, number two, present every single day. One-on-ones, two-on-ones, home meetings, presentations, but present every single day. How many times did you do that? And number three, promote events. The lifeblood of our business. That was a powerful answer. Now I ask you the same question. Take a look at what you did last week. How many times did you do those three things? How many times you do those things, you plan on doing those things moving forward? Because the answer to that question will determine your production, how well you do next month, and how fast you become a regional and a senior vice president. And I added number four. Because I like the top three. That was a great answer. But number four, what we didn't talk about is how to create exposures. See, a lot of people will qualify reps all day long. A lot of people will present all day long, and they'll promote the events, but what if they don't have any new people joining their team or any new people to work with? So the fourth thing that I added is create exposures. And how do you create exposures? You sit down with your reps, you attack this, you do 3 calls, but those are the four things, guys. Those are the four things you must master. Get obsessed with those four things every single day. Now, maybe going back to what's uncomfortable, maybe one of these things that we have up on the screen here, maybe one of these things is what's uncomfortable for you, and that's precisely what you need to go to the next level. Now, can we all agree that the business is simple?
Yeah.
You want to make some extra money? Would you like to get paid on services? Would you do me a huge favor? Pretty simple. Can we agree? So if it's so simple, why are some people's business flagging? Why are some people's business flagging if the business is so simple? And the problem is that people are relying too much on motivation, okay? And their strategy is not an effective strategy in order to achieve their goals. See, because we, in general, have big ambitions, but overestimate our ability to make ourselves do what it takes. Okay? So, the strategy is the problem. So what we need to do is we need to include habits that will produce the result that we're looking for. That's what we need. We need income-producing habits. Now, what is a habit? A settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up, an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. Who would like to completely, right, or involuntarily produce 50 IVOs a month? Can you imagine just what we do? We just produce. Can you imagine just what you do is produce? What you excellence just follows you everywhere. Customers. How about this? Would you like to have habits that you have into your life that's driving you to regional or senior vice president? But how about this? See, your team is a reflection of who you are. So imagine this, you start developing these income-producing habits. You start developing these habits that are driving you to senior vice president. And you start attracting people just like that into your organization. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Can you imagine if you're racing to senior vice president, you've got 5 or 10 other people also racing to senior vice president? Where would your life be in 12 months? So let's talk about some habits here in a little bit. Not yet. Leaders never show worry, doubt, fear, anger, frustration. Okay? As a leader, never are you going to show these emotions. I believe in life. Okay? I believe in life. When you're, your family, if you're leading a group of people, these emotions have to be wiped out. Negative ways of being. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But look, we need a better version of you. To get to where you want to be, we need to skill up. We need a better version of you. And some of us have come from environments where whining is okay. Some of us have come from environments where, quitting is okay. See, some of you have a habit of quitting. Some of you, for instance, have memberships in the gym. You donate to the gym every month. Some of you have anger issues. Some of you guys are bitchy. In order for you to go to the next level, we're going to have to work on your ways of being, some positive ways of being. Here we go. This is who we need. This needs to be synonymous with your name. Focused. When people think of focused individual, they think of you. Driven individual, committed individual, they think of you. Empowering, they think of you.
That's right.
I've just pulled out a few important ones. Resourceful. Empowering, consistent, strong, patience. It's going to take patience. How about this? Integrity. I'm just going to talk about integrity. See, do you follow through on what you say? See, there's a lot of people who say they're going to do things and they never do. There's a lot of people that put a date, an RD date or an ETL date on a piece of paper and they never follow through. See, the problem with integrity is that when you get into the habit of quitting or falling short, not following through, not being your word, you get these invisible deposits. You become a person that doesn't follow through. But when you start becoming a person of integrity, and you follow through on the things that you say, there's also these deposits. You get these invisible deposits, and you become a person that literally will create things into reality, that speak things into existence when you become a person of integrity. Let's fly here. 5 things that I learned from Franco LaFranco. Mr. Franco LaFranco has shared, I've learned so much from Mr. Franco LaFranco, a tremendous individual. He went from team coordinator to senior vice president, I believe, a year and a half. And these are the 5 things that he did, okay, in order to get himself to senior vice president in a year and a half. Now think about what this is. The team coordinator at the time, regional director. If you're a regional director here in this room today, think about what I'm telling you as a regional director. He told me he was doing 5, 10 IPOs a month as a regional director, old team coordinator. A year and a half later, Mr. Franco LaFranco was senior vice president. That means you, regional directors, regardless of your production, a year and a half from today, you can have that same reality. These are the 5 things that he said. Number 1, he said he got a coach. And the coach was used for accountability. Right? And Ray Dalio, the most successful hedge fund manager ever, says this. He says that everyone always needs to report to someone. He said, always think about this. When we are accountable to someone, okay, when we are accountable to someone, then we literally will do things that we may not do on our own until that becomes habit. Number 2, tap rooming 20 levels, integrity to the trainees, promoting events, and streamlining the lunch, meaning that he perfected the lunch. It's what you learn. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. Everything that I'm sharing with you does not matter if you don't apply it. Who's excited about the 100+ countries over the next few years? 100+ countries. you know, be a part of the launch of Africa someday? Who would like to be the launch of Africa? Or you? Look, you can clap all day long. But if you don't have the skills necessary, if you don't know what to do when that country launches, who cares? We just had the most successful country launch in history. Almost 500,000 reps were acquired in Colombia. Think about this, 500,000 reps. Did you take advantage of it? I don't want to make you feel bad, but you just missed the biggest country launch in history. That's all I gotta say. Okay? Be ready for the next one. What's next? Look at these countries, man. Look at how many people in Latin America. I mean, we believe, Robert Stefanowski said that he thinks that the launch of Colombia was the biggest launch, but he thinks that the same thing will happen in every other country in Latin America that we launch. That's just incredible. Daily method of operation. So we're talking about habits, we're talking about things that produce income-producing activities. These are just some mechanisms that I'm going to suggest to you. And some mechanisms, some things that you want to include as part of your habits. These are some things that you want to measure every single day. On a scale of 1 to 10, each of these things that I have up here, you know, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as efficiency with these mechanisms? Are you piquing interest? How well are you at piquing interest? How well are you at creating value? Customer acquisition, etc. These are just some mechanisms. There's other mechanisms. These are just some suggestions that I have for you, you know, and for you to start tracking them. Intention plus a mechanism equals a result. And you got to measure these mechanisms. You got to measure the income-producing activities, and the way that we do it is through this DMO sheet. Okay, look, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do this. You don't have to use the same sheet that we use. But let's see what we came up with. Mr. Jeff Weber is actually responsible for this, and originally it was like Larry Raskin that passed this on. But we track every activity, and we put a point value to each activity that you do every single day that's going to get you closer to the regional director position. And you can literally, based on how many points, how many activities you're doing every single day, can figure out the date that you didn't know with the regional director with these mechanisms that I just showed you guys. See the point values, start adding them up, and start going after it every single day. And 4 E's. 4 E's that you want to include. Number 1, example. Gives you credibility. Number 2, experience. Gives you the authority to look people in the eye. See, I can look at you in the eye, and I know that some of you paid a price to be here. I know some of you didn't have the money to be here. I was talking to my wife at lunch. I know that there's some of you, this is your first national, you paid a price, you didn't have the money, but you sacrificed. See, I can look you in the eye and say, it's all good, I was there too. Look, I was there too. I was in the room with 15 other people, you know, when I first got started. You know, I was here at the National scrambling, eating 29-cent cheeseburgers. It's all good. Empathy. Begin to have a heart, understand what people are going through, and empowerment gives you the confidence. See, I know that you can do it. There's no question in my mind that I know that each and every one of you can make this thing happen. And in the last slide, I just want to show you, when you put all this thing together, this is our report in Latin America. Over 40,000 services that we've signed up in Latin America. When you put all these things together, when you remove motivation as a strategy, when you use the right habits and you apply these mechanisms and you commit, you end up with 40,000 points. And listen to this, 90-day regional vice presidents. How about this? 15-day regional vice presidents. How about this? 40 team coordinators, where you put all of this together. So guys, here's a challenge. Okay, here's a challenge for all of you. Right now, other countries are outproducing the U.S. Here's a challenge. I want the U.S. to be the #1 producing country in the world. Okay? There's no reason why we can't. We've got better services. We've got better bonuses. You know, I challenge every one of you. I challenge every one of you. Commit this weekend to skill up and be the best leader that you can be, and let's take this company to $1 billion. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you so much.